Hey everybody! Well, today we're going to take a look at this really cool model of the robot from Lost in Space. Now, you're looking at this thinking, well, it does look like the robot, but why does he look so weird? Well, that's because this is a cartoonified version of the robot. Now, this is based on the robot from the cartoon Lost in Space. Believe it or not, there was a cartoon. I think it originally aired in 1973, and it was made by Hanna-Barbera, the creators of, oh gosh, so many amazing cartoons like Flintstones and Jetsons and Scooby Doo and so many more. And so, what was weird about it is it was kind of a one-off cartoon. In fact, it was kind of odd because first of all, it was an hour long. Well, it was about 45 minutes, but with cartoons, it would have been an hour. So I think the original intention of that particular episode was that it was going to be a pilot episode for a possible series, which I wish it would have become a series because it was actually pretty cool. It was a pretty good show, at least from that one episode. Now, the only thing about it that was weird, and I remember watching it when it first aired on TV, it was some kind of special they did on Saturday morning. And it was different from the original show because it didn't have the original cast members. It didn't have the original family. But it did still have Dr. Smith and the robot. Those were the only two original, reprised characters from the show. And they even got Jonathan Harris to do the voice of Dr. Smith, which was pretty cool. Now, the robot looked like this, and he went by the name Roban, which was kind of odd, but he was a more of a cartoonified version of this robot. Now, I'll put some screenshots of what he looked like. The only thing about this robot is that the color of him was kind of weird. He was purple, mostly purple with like a light purple and maybe like a dark purple like trim and stuff. And he didn't have the same voice. I think it was Don Messick who did the voice of the robot, who did, I think, the voice of like Scooby Doo and all these other characters. And so, painting this thing is going to be a weird kind of purple color to it. And I don't know. I originally was thinking about maybe painting it like the original robot and, making it silver and stuff like that. But I've already done two robot models from the Polar Lights robot. And this one is intended to look like the cartoon version just because of the proportions of them. You can see how tall the tread section is, and then see how narrow his legs get. Now, I've seen a model of this about 3 years ago that was at the Wonderfest convention in Kentucky. Every June, there's a cool model show, and it's like a competition in Kentucky called Wonderfest. And I saw a video of it, and I saw one of these robots on there, and I was like, oh man, I really want that. And I tried to contact the guy that made it, but he never got in contact back to me. He never got back to me. So I'm assuming maybe the email wasn't right because I tried to contact him a couple times for some other stuff too. Now, this one is slightly different from the one you see in the cartoon, mainly in the head section because the head was more oval shaped. This one has more of a flatter bubble, and if you look, it's a little bit indented at the top. I think that's just the way they made it. But I actually like the head on this one better than the cartoon. And the other thing I like about this, because the one at Wonderfest had the arms retracted in the side, so they're just kind of sticking out on the side. I like this one because the arms are sticking out. It's very cool. Now, I found this on eBay. There's a seller that sells all the characters from that cartoon, and I contacted them and I said, hey, I really like these figures, but I really am mostly interested in the robot. So can I just buy the robot from you, and can you make him bigger? Because I think the original figures were only like this tall originally. I said, can you make the robot about 12 inches tall? They were very nice, very accommodating, and said, yes, we can do that. And then sure enough, here it is. Now, it did take them a while. It took them about 2 months to get this to me. I don't know if there was some kind of a problem with, they say it takes about a month just to make them, but then there was some kind of delay. But, at least he turned out really good. And then the other thing is the arm was broken during shipping, and so was the claw. I managed to glue them back on. This is a resin, and it looks really good. Pretty much no cleanup. There is some kind of lines you can see here from the 3D printing, and also the resin is a little bit thin, so you can kind of see through it, probably with the studio light shining through it as well. But I'm not going to sand it because first of all, I hate sanding. And secondly, I'm just not worried about the lines, I mean, it's a cartoon version of it. And it's funny because if you watch the cartoon, sometimes the animators screw up. Sometimes they change the color of something. In one scene, his collar section here is completely flipped over, and then he's got this purple panel that's on the back here that I'm going to have to mask off. And sometimes it's there, sometimes it isn't. Most of the time it is there. And I don't think it even had treads on it. So, but anyway, it's a very basic paint job. I'm going to try to do as best as I can with this. It's going to be a little hard to paint because it was all printed in one piece. So there's going to be a lot of masking on this. So most of the time it's going to be spent masking on it. But oh well, anyway, so I'm going to get started on it. I think I'll start with a primer coat, and then maybe I'll start with, I'm not sure which color I should start with first. I might do the bubble first because it's orange, and then I can mask it off, and then I can just kind of go from there. Okay, so I've got this much done so far. So I've completely primered the whole thing. And I put like 2 or 3 coats of primer on there, and then I went ahead and did the orange bubble. It's going to be a little tricky masking underneath there, because see how tight that is? Because this whole collar section right here is going to be that dark purple. So I'm going to have to mask underneath. Well, I have to mask off the whole bubble in order to spray that the right color. And then I went ahead and also sprayed the yellow voice box area. That'll at least be somewhat easy to mask because I can just cut along the edge of it. So the paints I'm using so far is Tamiya mostly. This is the Tamiya Surface Primer, which works really good. And then for the orange bubble, I'm using the Tamiya TS12 Orange. And then the yellow voice box is the Tamiya TS16 Yellow. So then once I mask off the voice box and the bubble, I'm going to go ahead and do the light purple, like the main light purple color that you see all over. And I'm going to use this. I couldn't find a light purple that looked right from Tamiya, but I found this Vallejo. I've used this paint before, and it's really good paint. It's very much like Tamiya because it dries really quick and it goes on nice and smooth. So hopefully I'll have the same luck I had using this before. So I'll do all of the light purple sections. And then after that, there's going to be a lot of masking. I'm going to have to mask all the trim that you see around his body. Well, actually, I'll have to mask off all the main sections that I just painted the light purple. So what's going to be exposed is going to be the trim. This whole middle section is a dark purple. I think the claws are dark purple, as well as the legs. And of course, the collar section right there. And since this one has the tread belts, I'm going to go ahead and mask and make these dark purple as well, because that's light purple. And then for the dark purple, I'm going to use this. This is Tamiya TS37 Lavender. I think that looks pretty close to what it'll look like. It'll be a good contrast with these two. Yeah, like I said, I'm not a big fan of the purple coloring they used on the robot for that cartoon. I really wish they would have, I don't know, chose a better color. The purple is just so weird. But it's going to remind me of my all-time favorite Lost in Space episode from the original series is the one called The Mechanical Man. It was from season 2, and it's the one where they took the prop guys, I think bought about 50 or so of the little toy Remco robots, and they painted them all silver, and they even mechanized some of them so that the arms would move and the hips would turn. And it's such a cool episode, and the robot becomes their king. They're from the planet Industro. Oh my God, I absolutely love it. Dr. Smith and the robot end up changing personalities. It's such a cool episode because the robot's in it a lot, and I love all the little robots. But there's the main robot that's their leader is a purple guy. He's a little purple robot. So this guy's going to probably look a little bit similar to that. Anyway, let me get some more painting done on this. Yeah, okay, so there we got some more work done on this. So I did mask off the bubble, and I did manage to get under there. And then I also masked the voice box off. That is masked off. You just can't tell. You can kind of see the tape there. I just hope that that paint was dry enough so that when I peel the paint off, it doesn't peel off the paint. I use a blow dryer to speed up the drying process, and they were pretty dry, so I think we're safe with that. So now I got the purple all over everything. Now it's looking lighter on camera, but in person it's darker. In fact, it's a little darker than I was expecting it to look. But maybe, well, let's see. I'm trying to match. Looking at the color, see, it's weird how the camera does weird stuff with color. But yeah, it looks. In fact, the color it looks on camera is the color I wish it was, because it's actually very much darker. I wish I could get the right lighting on it. But anyway, so it's all painted. So now the next point of this is going to be all the masking. There's going to be so much masking to do. Everything. The only thing that's not going to get masked is this, the ridges, this area, these ridges down here, the legs, the claws, and the treads. Those are all going to be the lavender color over there. And actually, I'm hoping. Yeah, I think that'll be fine. Should be enough of a difference on there. And then, yeah, that should be pretty good. I think I'm going to go ahead and make that little bump right here where you can see the claw connecting. I'm going to go ahead and make that the lavender color as well. And then after that, I think I'm going to have to hand paint the buttons and the little dial lights right there, the two lights. And so I'll just probably use like a mixture of like reds and blues and stuff. You know, in the cartoon, those things kept flashing different colors. In fact, if you look at the cartoon, it's kind of cool. They used little squares that they would overlay on probably a separate cell from the background one, which was the robot itself. And they would just kind of make those appear like in a frame or two. And by just doing it every frame, it makes it look like they're flashing. But you can tell that they just put another square of color over the top of it. If you look closely, it's pretty cool the way they did it. Oh, and then I also have to mask the back here too, where there's that other dark section, or that other lavender section. Okay, well, guess I'll get to work on that. Okay, so, oh man. I have spent hours and hours masking this thing. I knew there was going to be a lot of masking, but my gosh, look at this. Just look at it. He's almost completely covered. So everything that's still exposed will be that darker purple color. But man, it took a lot to get to this point. He's got a lot of weird curves, little corners, just really hard places to kind of get tape into. I had to use this Tamiya thin tape to kind of make the curves. You know, I could have put maybe some tape on there and then just used an X-Acto blade to cut it, but it was cutting into that purple that I need to have stay on there. So I couldn't do that. I had to go with this method, and it just took forever. You can see there's just little pieces of tape all around here, little piece after little piece to get that circle. Ooh, I almost dropped him. He's front heavy. Really scary. And then here's the back panel. The arms are completely wrapped. And then this front section, oh man, there's just so much. It was really kind of awkward trying to get this down here because it's all curved. They're not straight lines. I mean, the whole thing is pretty much wrapped in it. Then we have the tread sections all wrapped. And that was kind of an awkward area in there. And then he is that original purple that's in that little indented section there. The dark purple doesn't start till you get up to that thing. So I had to kind of get some tape down in there. So it's really tricky just trying to get some tape all over the really tight spots, that little edge and everything. Oh, man. Whew, man, I'm glad that's over. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and paint the darker color on. I will paint the little lights on the front and then do any touch-ups, and I think he'll finally be finished. Thank goodness. It's been fun to do it, but man, that masking, oh man, it's enough to drive a person out of their mind. All right, hopefully he'll be done on the next segment. All right, so I just wanted to show what he looks like with all this purple paint on him. It looks really weird. So that lavender paint's really glossy. I didn't know it was really glossy like that. See, it looks like it's still wet. It's crazy. But so I'm going to probably have to put a semi-gloss or maybe even a dull coat on here. I'm not sure I really want him very shiny. I mean, in the show, he's not shiny, obviously, because it's just, you know, ink, ink and paint and stuff like that. So I might just dull coat the whole thing. That might kind of make it look a little bit more, I don't know, just a little bit better. I don't generally like shiny models. You know, it makes it look, well, I was going to say it makes him look like a toy, but in a way, he kind of is. All right, well, anyway, I'm going to try to finish this up now, get all this stuff. I hope I have to take all this tape off now, and I'm sure there's going to be touch-ups everywhere, so wish me luck. Okay, here he is. He's all finished. Oh my gosh. This turned out way better than I thought it was going to. I wasn't really sure, as I mentioned in previous videos, I'm not the world's best painter, but you know, I don't know. I think I'm so dedicated to this robot that I really wanted him to look good. I think it turned out really, really nice considering. Now, the purple paint, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a fan of his paint scheme, but it works, at least the way this model looks. This purple, when it's under bright studio lights like this, it looks more like the way I expect it to look. I think the room I was in before is just dark, and so it shows up much better. And this other darker purple, it just goes on kind of shiny. As you can see, I dulled it down. So I sprayed a Tamiya, let's see, what I guess it was like a dull coat or a flat coat is what they call it. And I think that really took a lot of the shine off, and it kind of evened out all the just the paint in general. It just really kind of helps even things out. Now, as I mentioned, he's a little bit front heavy, so I got a little piece of a stick under here to kind of raise up his front end. And so when I put him on the shelf, I'm just going to have that stick under there because I certainly don't want him to fall forward. But man, I think he looks really cool. Most modelers won't show you their models close up because they don't want to show all the flaws and stuff. But, hey, as I mentioned, I'm not perfect when it comes to this stuff. But we can start here at the bottom. So the masking really is key to this. I mean, there's going to be a lot of masking to do on it, as you saw. And I really hate masking, but for something like this, it's just necessary. And it's necessary for a lot of models. But there's just a lot of, sharp edges for colors and stuff. But it's really hard to mask when you got curves going on in there and things like that. But there's the legs. I went ahead and painted the little edges here, like the little, purple around that claw right there. It just makes it look better. I mean, it is raised there. Sometimes that's colored in the cartoon, and other times it's the same color as the arm. So, the animators on these cartoons, they're never consistent. They have different animators working on different parts of the cartoon, and so that's why you'll see kind of flaws in there. So the buttons here, I just kind of went with the red, blue, yellow, and white because I don't know, those are the colors I saw, and they kind of go with the cartoony look of it. The orange main lights right there. Now, I originally was just going to leave that blank, but I decided that when he talks, he does have those wavy lines on there. So I just took some pinstriping tape, some really narrow pinstriping tape, and just made that design myself. And I think it really adds to it. It just makes it look like he's talking. It's really neat. But yeah, very tricky paint job on this, working around these curves. I had to go in and do a lot of touch-ups. There was a lot of spots in there where, unfortunately, the paint had leaked under the masking tape a little bit, so I had to go in and kind of touch things up. It's not perfect, but I put so much time into it at this point. I was like, well, just kind of getting tired. There's the bubble. It does have that indentation on the top, which is weird, but I do like the head shape of this one. I think it looks better. So yeah, it turned out really nice. I really love the way it looks. In the cartoon, there's a really odd mistake in there where you can tell that some communication was lost somewhere when they were animating it. But there's a scene where you can see everybody's taking off on this hovering vehicle, and the robot is the one that's actually driving it. You can see the robot is in there. In fact, the main character asks if the robot can drive it. And then in the next scene, all of a sudden the robot is missing. It's like, where did he go? He's not even on there. So, I mean, they just forgot to draw him in. And then later on, all of a sudden they've got the enemy robot is right next to him. Now, how the heck did the enemy robot get in there? I mean, that was a complete goof. He shouldn't have been on there at all. So obviously there was some kind of weird miscommunication going on there. So there he is, the Lost in Space robot from the Lost in Space cartoon from 1973. I've been wanting one of these robots for a long time. I think this is about the only version that I don't have. And I only recently discovered that somebody even made a 3D print version of it. This is a much better version than the one I saw in the video for Wonderfest because I just think he looks a lot better. He's designed a lot better. I also like the way the arms are out. It really makes him look, just like he's got more animation to him. I think this is an exclusive print from the seller. Now, I got this from a seller on eBay, and they go by the name 3 Stairs. So you can just look them up on eBay. They make all the characters from the show, but if you want just the robot like I did, just request it and they'll print it in a large size. This is the first time they did it. And so now that they've had a chance to do it, They now have the files to be able to do it, but it looks really good. The devil's going to be in the painting for this. It's going to be, oh man, it's gonna. If you're really good at painting, you'll probably have it come out better than I did here. But I still think he turned out pretty good, considering I'm not that skilled at this. But yeah, check out Three Stairs. That's where you can get it. And also the cartoon. If you want to check out the cartoon, it is available on YouTube. Just look it up, Lost in Space cartoon. And also they have it on the Blu-ray box set for the series of Lost in Space. I highly recommend, if you're a fan of that show, to get that Blu-ray if you haven't gotten it, because they cleaned up those episodes and they look so good. I mean, sometimes you can actually see the makeup on the actors' faces. That's how cleaned up it is. It looks really good. You can see dents and scratches on the robot. It's fantastic. But yeah, it's also on the bonus material for that too, if you want to see the cartoon, which I thought was really nice that they provided it. All right, well, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. I very much appreciate it. And until the next time, I'll see you on the next video. So thanks again for watching and have a good one.